Hello, my name is Matt. Welcome to Unbearable 73. Okay, it's time to review episode 2 of Yakamoz S245. Note that I will be spoiling the first episode, which I reviewed yesterday. First, I did some Google food to try to discover what the word Yakamoz, I keep saying Yakamoz for some reason. Anyway, to find out what Yakamoz means in English. Apparently it doesn't have an exact translation. It's some sort of idiom from Turkish. It means something like moonlight shines on the ocean, which is like a common sort of saying, I guess, when you're talking about praising something or whatever. I'm not sure the exact meaning, but that's what it kind of means. So where do we leave off? The civilian crew of the research submarine had managed to make it to shore, even though their batteries were almost drained. After discovering there was no power, only their satellite phones were working, and that they did not see anyone out, a military submarine rose from the water nearby. That's an inconsistency. The satellite phone's still working, by the way, but not whatever. You have to have some means of communication, otherwise it just the plot doesn't work, right? Before we learned basically earlier in the episode, one of the things I couldn't talk much about without spoiling stuff. We learned that a devastating solar event, which we actually saw via special effects, was hitting the Earth with increased solar radiation. We know that in real life, something like coronal mass ejections from the sun do occasionally hit the Earth. Hypothetically, a strong enough one can in fact hurt or kill living organisms. In fact, the normal CME is or has hit the Earth right around the time this video is recording, sometime last week I think it was. The CMEs are normal solar events. The most recent one hit the Earth at approximately 3 million kilometers per hour and caused what's called a G3 geomagnetic storm. A CME normally takes 15 to 18 hours to reach the Earth, but we're usually protected from almost all of the effects from our magnetosphere. Okay. Obviously, the event in the show is more severe than a normal CME, if it's even a CME. How much and why? Well, you got to watch this episode to find out. I'm not going to spoil that much for you. Also, I didn't mention to you the spoilers, but the male lead character Arman had been portrayed as having an antagonistic and combative relationship with his father. It was patently obvious his father knew that death was on its way, and I'm pretty sure it was patently obvious that he sponsored the submarine expedition deep down to the ocean trench, where those on it were protected to save his son. When they came up from below, they found a message from Daphne's fiance, explaining that a solar event was going to kill people, and he was heading to a shelter. So that's right at the end of the episode. And you saw the submarine emerging from the water. So we'll talk about production. Now, I'm not going to go over every single thing I do or brand new. I'm only going to make a comment with the 5 things I tend to cover for production if there's a significant event, or there's a change. Okay. So the visuals. In the first episode I commented, they also chose to light up scenes well and not hide stuff with bad lighting, rain, or clouds. That was true to an extent. I couldn't say more because it would spoil quite a few events from the first episode. One reason they chose to mostly show scenes at night or inside structures was that they were filming where millions of people were actually still alive in our real world, but by filming at night or inside structures, they covered for the fact there were living people around them and made it look like so it seems everyone had actually died, basically. And on the special effects, again, to avoid spoilers, I specifically didn't mention one set of CGI effects they used. They did show several completely CGI shots of the sun pummeling the Earth with the solar event we're talking about. They were pretty good, but they looked familiar. I wonder if they were using scenes pre-rendered for some government space agency's educational video, because for some reason it reminded me of some stuff I've seen NASA do when talking about CMEs and solar flares and whatnot, like very directly. Almost like I've seen the effect somewhere before, which could also be because someone has done that effect. The same worker did that effect for that as did for the NASA thing, you know. But there's nothing wrong. I mean, a lot of smaller TV shows and whatnot will use real government footage for stuff like that. For example, in many things that depict early nuclear explosions, they'll actually use the real footage of nuclear explosions to show their simulated one from their movie or whatever. On the acting, okay, the big change here is the addition of the main supporting character from the military submarine that emerged from the ocean. This will be a bit of a spoiler, but the second in command of the Turkish submarine, a character named Umat, I think it's pronounced Umat. That's how the captain seems to be saying it. He's played by Ertan Saban. he's already giving the body language, facial expressions, and vocal tone that he's going to be a problem in some capacity. That doesn't mean he's a problem in a bad guy sense, but a lot of these type of action type of survival shows use antagonism between the characters to sort of create danger for the characters, and that will be legit. If you've ever been in trouble in any capacity, like trapped in a fire, or maybe there was a disaster going on, like if you're trapped in an elevator for a couple hours or whatever, you always get that dude who panics, or somebody got that angry dude in there or whatever, and it's part of our socialization process. Primates is to work this sort of thing out, but that's a sense of danger to us. It's built into us to sort of be aware of those behavioral issues. So in any case, another character, one I really like, Captain Erne, played by Hakan Salinmas. He comes across pretty well, commanding but patient and confident. Watching his performance, I feel like his character is someone I would want to be in a crisis situation. He appears to exert control of Umat, and that seems more because Umat respects him more than Umat fears him per se, which in a military sense, that would be true. A great commander would have people respecting him, and that's why his men won't obey him. They respect him. Besides the training, of course. So now on to the plot, which is episode specific. Okay. We do get more of an explanation for the solar events in the episode. I'll say that much. There are two main plot elements that are episode specific. They each have several subplots. I'm only going to mention the ones that you should know about from the first episode so you have an idea of where they continue. The first main plot point or plot thread is that the two crews from the civilian vessel and the military vessel come together to sort of start dealing with the crisis they find themselves in. Now, a subplot here is a different way the situation manifests to the military versus civilians. The military become more distrustful events because their training makes them question things, like they pull together, but they question to analyze threats. That's the sense that they're distrustful. They're on higher alert. Where the civilians, instead of distrusting and look for the military, become protectors. So resolving that's one of the character-based plots that go through this episode. The second main plot point is a search for the bunker that was mentioned by Daphne's fiance in the first episode, and they want to find the bunkers. They want to be in it before the sun comes up to survive. Daphne searches for her fiance through that subplot. I will say there are several cool new episode-specific subplots that interact in surprising ways, which I'll comment on in the third episode review. But not so much surprising from the concept that they should interact, but surprising that someone on the writing team did this. So I took a look at the writers for the episode. And the writers are Kensu Koban, Jacek Dukaj, and Jason George. And looking over those writers' credits, all three of them have worked on Into the Night, which is the show that this is spun off of. You learned in my first video. That makes me want to watch the other show even more. Now, I'm assuming Jason George has some sort of career doing English translations of these sort of European shows, maybe Turkish shows or whatever, based on his other credits. So I'm assuming he's sort of a supporting writer type thing. Jacek Dukaj is an executive producer on Into the Night. So that's continuity between the two. He's probably used to writing in the setting. My final thoughts. Episode 2 is better than episode 1. It proves my earlier point that the show is just going to show you stuff and tell a story. No false fronts, no fake outs, no political BS, no just survival, just dealing with stuff. And again, I continue to get the Lost Shift vibe from this show. That's a show that was that about finished about 5 or 6 years ago on TNT. They knew where they were starting with it. They knew where they were finishing with it. They didn't belabor the point. 5 seasons, I believe. And you should watch it. But anyway, I'll put an IMDB link to it down below as well. I'm definitely going to keep watching this. Even if it starts to fall off, I'll definitely finish it because it's a short season. I think it's like 7 episodes or 8 episodes at most. So comment down below if you have any questions for me about this video or this show or The Lost Ship. I want people to watch that because that was great. That's one of my top 20 favorite TV shows of all time. Share this video if you enjoyed it. Like it if you like, dislike if you dislike. Subscribe if you want to hear more from me. My name is Matt. This has been Unbearable 73. Have a nice day, and I am out of here.